Buenos dias. It's a good day in Dania today. Cooking Mara stew for lunch. Anyway, I was going to. This may interest some and probably won't interest a lot. Well, whoever's watching might interest some, might interest them. Anyway, when I was 14, I left school because my mum and dad said, you can leave school so long as you've got a job. I guess they were thinking there's no way he's going to get a job, so he'll have to stay at school. Well, I got a job, so they stuck to their word and they let me leave school. So what it meant was I was working and making, a tiny little bit of money, but I was able to start buying things that I wanted at a young age. My dad had bought me a guitar when I was 12. It was an SG copy. I think it was a Hondu SG copy with beautiful engravings of roses in this part of the guitar. That went, I don't know where that went. I guess I sold it or I traded it to buy a Suzuki, a red Gibson 335 copy of Suzuki from the 80s. And that went, and somehow I ended up with a white Kramer with a Floyd Rose tremolo. Why? I have no idea, but I was 15 at the time or something like that, 16 at the time. It was around about that time that I started to sort of take music a little bit more seriously, and I was really starting to get into trying to see as many live bands as I could. And was it around the age of sort of 16 that I was working in the screen printing factory in Crow's Nest, and the guy there, he was in a band called Love Shark, and his brother was in a band called Example Head. And at the time I was listening to a lot of two-tone music like the Selector or the Specials and stuff like that. And he sort of said to me, among many other things, because I was playing in my uncle's band as well, which meant I was listening to Del Shannon or Buddy Holly or lots of things like that. But, young teenager kind of was also gravitating towards things that my uncles and father and mother sort of didn't know about as well. So, and at the time, that two-tone ska sort of thing was sort of where my head was at in where I was growing up on Sydney's northern beaches. Anyway, it was him who said to me, he played drums in Love Shark, and it was him who said to me, if you play guitar, you shouldn't be listening to this music, you should be listening to this music. And he eventually sort of turned me on to, I traded him a drum kit, an old drum kit that I had, for three LPs. One was Machine Gun Etiquette by The Damned. The other one was Ace of Spades by Motorhead. And the third, I can't remember what the third is now, but there was 3 records. I traded him for a drum kit. Wasn't too long after that my good buddy at the time, Bullet, whom I later started Asteroid B612 with, started to get into things like, the Sex Pistols and punk, and then he introduced me to Radio Birdman and things like that. So at the age of 16, I decided that I was going to go and see some live bands, and I thought I'll be able to get in. Hoped to get in and not get kicked out. It was then when I started to sort of take the music side of it more seriously and listening to things and stuff like that, and not just imagining things in my head, sort of trying to work out how things worked a little bit more. It was around about that time that I seen the New Christ for the first time, and became sort of semi-infatuated with the band and the music that they wrote and played. And being young and impressionable, the thing I gravitated towards was the guitar player at the time, Charlie Owen. And he had a 70s Telecaster Deluxe, just like this. This is a 1972 Telecaster Deluxe. And it's the first, what I call, real guitar that I bought with my own money, that I saved up and bought. Cost me Cost me $950. I bought it from Guitar Crazy in Coogee. Yeah, and the reason that I went after this was because I thought I was hearing a unique sound. It was the first time I thought I heard something from Charlie's guitar playing that I didn't hear from lots of other things that I'd heard on records. I just heard guitars and I really didn't sort of identify them with, that might be this guitar. But when I heard this guitar, I definitely identified a certain sound with this guitar. So I went out and bought this guitar. 72 Telecaster Deluxe, and I've had it since that day. I'm running it right now into this little late 60s, early 70s Elk Stageman, which is about 15 watts. I'm just running it directly into the amp. But these are some of the sounds that would have turned me on when I was looking for this guitar, or when I discovered this guitar. So I think it has a really unique sound. Yeah, it's got these wide range pickups in it. You switch it to the neck pickup, it has that real sort of woman, what Clapton called that woman tone. It's got that sort of howl, but the definition hangs in there. Like I said, I'm just going direct into this little amp, just sort of cranked up. It's about 10 or 15 watts or something like that. But this is the guitar that I would use for all of the first Asteroid B612 record. So, I think it's identifiable on that record too. When I listen back to that record, I can hear this guitar on that record. I can hear... chainsaw. It's certainly got a unique sound to it. It would then, after the first Asteroid B612 record was recorded, it would sort of live in a hard case for many years, and I really didn't touch it again until I started making my own records and searching for more than just one guitar sound, searching for different guitar sounds, you know what I mean? By that stage in the early 2000s, I had more than one guitar. This was sort of my one guitar from 88. I think I bought it in 1988. It was my one guitar from there until sort of 94, 95. But then it really didn't get used until then. I used this guitar when I played in the band with Macca called the Egos, with Linky, Macca and Deline. But it's really hung in there. It's been broken into fucking pieces many, many times through young, silly, self-indulgent behaviour. But it still hangs in there and still probably gets used as much today in the studio than any other guitar that I own. I used it on things like, I just click in the tremolo on this amp on Take Me Down to Your River. I am who I am. Yeah, like I said, it gets used a lot. It laid in its case for many years, but now it gets used a lot. It's a great guitar, 1972 Telecaster Deluxe. Yeah, I'm not sure if you find this sort of shit interesting or not, but I do, and I know a couple of my mates do, so there's probably a lot of things I forgot to say that I should have said about this guitar or why I bought it at the time, but you know, I did, and I'm happy I still own it. How long have I had it now? For 88 makes it what? 40? No, 30, 32, 33 years. And it's been tough as nails and been loyal and reliable, this guitar. It's the way that I had it, except I broke one of the knobs off it and just replaced it with a standard Telecaster knob, but pretty much, I mean, it's been fixed from being basically, like I said, snapped in half by Greg Fryer many times. I replaced one tuning peg here that I also snapped, but the rest of it is the way that I bought it in 1988. Yeah, great guitar. Anyway, I hope you're well, having a good day, and I hope I didn't bore you too much, because I'm thinking about going through most of these guitars and the reasons why I bought them, or what I was doing, or where my head was at the time. But like I said, I was 16, 17, 18 and impressionable, and this guitar was the first guitar, you know, besides a guitar like, you know, that Chuck Berry would have played or something like that, which made a huge impression on me as a kid. This was the first guitar as a sort of young adult that made like a huge impression on me, and that's why I bought it, and I guess that's why I still own it. Have a good day. Take care.